17 members and associates of the Hells Angels are facing criminal charges in a violent attack.
Federal agents allege the outlaws sold drugs, traded firearms, and engaged in insurance fraud and even tampered with government witnesses.
We have learned there is cell phone video as well as surveillance video of evidence in this attack.
The U.S. attorney characterized today's raids as historic, the largest federal bust on organized criminal gang activity.
Retaliation is common for crimes involving biker gangs. However, it could happen anywhere because of how interconnected gangs have become nationwide.
The 3-year investigation resulted in 42 federal indictments on a variety of charges, including racketeering, money laundering, drugs, gambling, insurance fraud, and extortion.
There's a bunch of bikers up here, and they're shooting guns and stuff. I need the police now.
But on foot going towards 2nd Street. Okay, receive.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today we're going to talk about the 14 members of the Thug Riders who are facing charges in accused of federal crimes. So the Thug Riders. Shout out to everybody that takes the time to watch this show. I appreciate you. Lindsay, how are you? Joe Blunts, what's good, man? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that information. Anyone interested in acting in a TV or a movie, hit me up at Bill Stacks 2021. We got a lot of great things going on. The script is together, and we're looking for spots to fill. I have quite a few spots already filled, but we're still looking for a couple more people. Well, quite a few more people, but hit me up if you want to part in this series. It's going to be a great thing. Shout out to Miklo. Interviewed him today. Really great guy. Got a lot of information out. And that interview is going to be dropping probably next week. Came out really good. Shout out to him. There's a lot of craziness going on in the news. And we're going to get into it today. Hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, tell a friend to tell a friend. So today we are talking about the Thug Riders. The Thug Riders is a motorcycle club. They are across the Midwest, and they were busted in a federal investigation, kind of like the Banditos. And 14 members are charged. Now, they've been sitting in jail or federal prison waiting to find out what's going to happen with their cases. And it looks like they are following through. So one member pleaded guilty, I guess. It says, Thug Riders Motorcycle Club member pleads guilty to conspiracy. One of the 14 members of the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club facing charges in a federal court in connection with organized crime scheme has pled guilty. Michael Henry has pleaded guilty to conspiracy in exchange and racketeering, conspiracy to commit violent crime in aid of racketeering, and commission of a violent crime in aid of racketeering as part of a plea agreement earlier this month, according to the U.S. District Court in Southern Ohio, records say. The court has issued no decision on whether it will accept Henry's plea, but he was referred to the probation department for pre-sentencing investigation pending the court's decision. Henry is the first motorcycle club member to plead guilty in this case. In total, 14 members were indicted last summer for running a criminal enterprising, engaging in violent behavior, including murder, arson, and assault. Some of the violent acts the group is being accused of includes blowing up a former member's truck in Huber Heights in May 25th, 2021. Killing a man during a shootout in Harrison Township, September 26, 2021. Traveling to Lexington, Kentucky to attack a rival motorcycle club in April of 2023. Nearly 200 rounds were reportedly fired during a shootout. Also breaking a man's leg during a fight in Dayton bar on June 17th, 2023. Engaging in a gunfight with a rival motorcycle group in Springfield on March 30th, 2024. In addition to Henry, 13 others were indicted in the case. Juan Robles of Arizona, Joey Marshall, Gerard Peters of Dayton, Brandon Fisher, John Smith of Dayton, Norman Beach of Dayton, Daniel Hutton, Michael Reese, Matthew Hawkins of Pennsylvania, Joseph Rader of Kentucky, Justin Baker of Columbus, Cody Hughes of Columbus, and Brett Englands. Robles helped create the local Thug Riders chapter and was the Midwest boss at the time of the indictment, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Marshall, Peters, Fisher, and Smith also reportedly held leadership roles in the Midwest chapters. So I believe they're trying to take down the leadership of this club. I mean, they are pretty big. I believe they have a chapter here in Connecticut. I think they're in New York too. They're pretty big. That's pretty big. I mean, they're all over the country. But it's not looking good. I mean, it's not looking good for the Banditos, and this is kind of mirroring that. But the Banditos, I mean, same amount of people too. Like, is that like the lucky number 14? Is that like the number that they go for? Because that's the same amount of Banditos that were picked up in the indictment. So here's another article. It says, Thug Riders, what's next for the 14 members of the motorcycle club accused of federal crimes? A deadline to submit potential trial dates have been set for more than a dozen members of the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club accused of participating in violent criminal enterprise in the Dayton area. 14 members of the club are facing a combination of racketeering, conspiracy, assault, and attempted assault charges. On February 10th, the judge signed an order requiring the defense teams to submit joint status reports by April 8th. The report will include at least 3 dates for the final pretrial conference and trial. Defense will also be given an update on discovery and the speedy trial deadline. So if you guys don't know what that means, when you get arrested and charged with a crime, they have something called speedy trial, meaning that they have to present their case within a certain amount of time or they have to drop all the charges. So they have to either bring it to court, and because you can say, I want a speedy trial, because you have the right to a speedy trial. So if they don't have all their evidence in a row, or they're waiting for people to testify or anything like that, if they can't get their case together, then the prosecution is going to have to end up dropping the charges, which is very rare, especially in a federal case, because we all know that 90% of federal cases usually win. They're not going to really even take the charges out on people if they're not going to win the case. They usually don't do that. If you get hit with a federal case, usually you're pretty much cooked. But that's what's happening here. Is I think that they want to push going to trial quick, and the feds are scrambling to get their cases together. So the Speedy Trial Act establishes a time limit for the different stages of federal criminal prosecution and ensures defendants have a chance to prepare for trial. The Thug Riders are accused of participating in violent crimes in Dayton, Hubert Heights, Harrison Township, Springfield, Logan County, London, Ohio, and Lexington, Kentucky. The Thug Riders were reportedly involved in the deadly shooting of 43-year-old Joseph Nicholson in Harrison Township on September 26, 2021, and allegedly had a shootout and gunfights between other motorcycle clubs in Springfield and Lexington, Kentucky. According to federal records, members detonated an explosive device in a former member's truck in Huber Heights in May of 2021 after the former member left the club without paying a $1,000 exit fee, and he didn't surrender his motorcycle. Another thing is, some of these clubs, they will have you sign over your motorcycle if you're a part of a club, and if you don't give up the motorcycle when you leave, then you're going to have a problem. And it seems like that's what happened here, is the person did not want to give up the motorcycle. 14 members are facing charges, including Juan Robles, who helped create the Dayton chapter of the Thug Riders and Midwest Regional Boss at the time of the incident. Other leaders are Joey Marshall, Midwest Sergeant of Arms, Jared Peters, Dayton chapter president, Brandon Fisher, Dayton chapter sergeant of arms, John Smith, Dayton chapter enforcer, were also indicted. Norman Beach, Michael Henry, Daniel Hutton, Michael Reese, Matthew Hawkins, Joseph Ryder, Justin Baker, Cody Hughes, and Brent Englinson also faces charges as well. As of February 20th, Henry was the only member to have pleaded guilty to the charges. He entered a guilty plea in conspiracy to engage in racketeering, conspiracy to commit violent crimes in aid of racketeering, and the commission of a violent crime in aid of racketeering as part of a plea agreement during a hearing on February 6th, according to court records. The court has not announced if Henry's plea will be accepted, has been referred to the probation department. So that's a pretty telling thing, though, that one member has pled guilty. What's that mean? Does that mean he's talking to the feds? And who knows? It means he pled guilty and it's not looking good, because if he's pleading guilty and all these other people are accused of all these other crimes, that means he's admitting to whatever it is they had going on. And that's not a good thing. Shout out to Miklo. We had a really good interview today, and we talked about the way that the media is spinning a lot of these clubs, and a lot of how these clubs are trying to take dominance in certain places, just like the Banditos, how they are. There was a thing where they were trying to monopolize on being the dominant force out in this certain area. And you just can't do that. You can't do that nowadays. It's just not, because you're making the case for the feds. You're making it really easy for them to indict these people. Like, you guys are indicting yourself. And come on. I guess everybody wants to be the bully in the playground, right? Joe Blunts, how are you? Absolutely, brother. Every time I see you're live and I'm not busy, I'm out here doing the best show on YouTube. Thank you, Joe Blunts. I appreciate you. Support Stacks. Hit that like button. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. So there's so much content on the way. I'm dropping a lot of interviews. Tonight, part 4 of 144 years in prison is dropping. And then we got George Bishop. His family was part of the first people to help create, or his father allegedly created, the Hells Angels. So we're going to be dropping that interview, and you guys give your input, and I want to hear about it, because he's willing to come back on if you guys have questions or anything like that, and we're going to talk about it. One thing I wanted to show you guys, this is quite disturbing. This is a video of a new clothing line from Harley Davidson, and this is quite disturbing. All new Harley clothing line. Like, what's going on with this? Like, this is a joke, right? That's got to be a joke, right? Like, come on. Please tell me that's a joke. Please, someone tell me that's a joke. Hey, Spiders Club Life, how are you? Shout out to you, man. Thank you for joining me today. So tonight is Chris Willer's interview, part 4. And then we got George Bishop. And then I have, if you guys don't know who the Night Sinners are, the Night Sinners is a club from Illinois. I interviewed Wayne. Shout out to Wayne. That interview is going to be dropping. It's a pretty good one. He talks about how he joined the Night Sinners back in the day in 79, I believe it was. We're going to talk to a lot of different motorcycle club members and get their aspects on things. And then after that one, down the week, we're going to talk about this, how the president does the unthinkable, triple homicide. And we're going to go over that case. And another thing I want to talk to you guys about later on in the week is how some of these cop clubs, this cop club called the Iron Order, is parading around like it's a 1% club. It's kind of odd. Don't you think a cop club being a 1%, it's just weird. Now, this is them. Crazy. It's a cop club, like the police. Former, I think they have active police officers in it. Active police and active, like, prison guards and all this shit. Iron Order parading around like a 1% cop club. Just weird. It doesn't make sense. It's like an oxymoron. It makes no sense at all. Hey, Carney's Ride, how are you? Thanks for joining me today. But I want to know what your thoughts are on that. What are your thoughts on a cop club parading around like a 1%? Like an outlaw club? What are your thoughts on that? It's insane. Never seen nothing like it. So I got a video with the Thug Riders. Let's check it out.
Kenneth Parker, United States Attorney for the Southern District of Ohio. I'm here today, along with my law enforcement partners, to announce the federal indictment of 14 members of the outlaw motorcycle gang known as the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club. Joining me at the podium, John Noakes, Acting Special Agent in charge with ATF, Dayton Police Chief Cameron Asdal, Huber Heights Police Chief Mark Leitner, Xenia Police Chief Chris Stutz, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Matt Haynes.
Yeah, that's just weird, man. That's just weird. Yimmy's Yayo guy. That's really weird. The Blue Knight's been doing it for years, parading around like they're outlaw 1%ers and they're cops. Get the fuck out of here. Stick with your little cop shit, right? It's really weird. Shout out to Breeze. Me and Breeze got some new interview dropping. It's pretty entertaining. You guys are gonna get a a pretty good kick out of that one. It's a untold story that he has not told anyone yet on the internet, and it's pretty good. Finishing it up right now, so that one's going to be dropping very soon. Yeah, that's insane. Don't worry, we're gonna put a spotlight on the cop clubs that parade around like 1% clubs.
Fairborn Police Department Captain Mark Stannard and Greene County Sheriff Scott Anger. Now, an indictment is merely an allegation, as all the defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law. The indictment in this case alleges that the Thug Rider Motorcycle Club operated a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in acts of violence like murder, arson, and assault. They also participated in acts of extortion and identity fraud. Count 1 of the indictment charges several members of the motorcycle club with racketeering conspiracy, or RICO. This count carries a penalty punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Count 2 of the indictment charges several members of the motorcycle club with assault with a dangerous weapon and assault resulting in serious bodily injury in aid of racketeering. This charge goes towards the action of the members which occurred on or about September 26, 2023, where they acted for the purpose of maintaining or increasing their positions in the enterprise and did assault and aid in the assault of another person. This count carries a penalty also punishable up to 20 years in prison. Count 3 of the indictment charges several members of the motorcycle club with violent crimes in aid of racketeering, or VICAR, conspiracy to commit assault with a dangerous weapon. This charge goes towards the actions of the members which occurred on or about April 9, 2023, in the Southern District of Ohio, Eastern District of Kentucky, and elsewhere, where those members acted for the purpose of maintaining or increasing their positions in the enterprise, did conspire to assault with a dangerous weapon another motorcycle club in Kentucky. This count carries a penalty punishable up to 3 years in prison. And count 4 of the indictment charges several members of the motorcycle club with attempted assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering activities. This charge goes towards the actions of the members which occurred on or about March 20, 2024, where those members acting for the purpose of maintaining or increasing their positions in the enterprise conspired to assault with a dangerous weapon members of another different motorcycle club. This count carries a penalty punishable up to 3 years in prison.
So what's that, 26 years so far? Man, they just stacked a book against these people.
Now, you will receive copies of the indictment. It's been unsealed for your review and further understanding of the charges in this case. According to the indictment, the racketeering conspiracy began in January 2019. And during the conspiracy, members of the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club, the Dayton chapter, engaged in a number of overt acts in support.
Hey, Maureen, how are you?
Including the Thug Rider members blowing up a former member's vehicle in Huber Heights in May 2021, when that former member did not pay $1,000 plus give up their motorcycle.
Like, so if someone doesn't want to be a part of your club, right? Someone doesn't want to be a part of the club, so you go after them, start blowing up their shit. It's crazy. Crazy. If they don't want to be a part of the club, just let them go, right? I mean, it sounds like you really don't have a choice.
To the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club. Thug Riders members killing a man during a September 2021 shootout in Harrison Township. And during the incident, over 40 live rounds were fired into the vehicle where the victim was seated with 3 others. The victim was shot in the head and died. During an early morning in April 2023, members of the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club fired more than 190 rounds into a rival motorcycle gang's clubhouse in Lexington, Kentucky. The clubhouse was occupied at the time, and it is fortunate that no one died. Thug Riders members threatening and extorting, supporting motorcycle clubs such as the Laughing Dead and others. Thug Riders members causing an incident at a bar in Dayton in June 2023 when they were denied services due to their donning their patches. During the incident, Thug Rider members broke the leg of one patron, and the person also suffered a black eye. Thug Rider members attacking a rival gang member.
Damn, they broke his leg. Bar. They broke his leg at the bar. That's crazy.
In July 2023, and during this incident, one of the Thug Rider motorcycle members even fired a shot at the rival gang member. In March of this year, members of the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club went to another motorcycle gang's clubhouse in Springfield, Ohio, for the purpose of causing harm and injury. And at the clubhouse in Springfield, Thug Rider members engaged in a shootout with the other motorcycle gang. One of the Thug Rider members was shot twice in the face. Thug Rider members also physically assaulting members of another motorcycle gang at a bar in London, Ohio, in May of this year. Now the defendants, pictured to my right, there's Juan Robles, also known as Juan the Man, Joy Marshall, known as King Joe or Diesel, Jared Peters, known as Savage, Brandon Fisher, known as Roadrunner, John Smith, known as Chaos, Norman Beach, also known as Storm and Norman, Michael Henry, called Brutal, Daniel Hutton, called Havoc, Michael Reese, also known as Butcher, Matthew Hawkins, known as Hawk, Joseph Raider, known as Delta, Justin Baker, known as Wild Boy, Cody Hughes, also known as Tatter, and Brent Eggleston, known as Be Easy. Now, reviewing the indictment, you will find that club members Juan Robles, Joy Marshall, Jared Peters, Brandon Fisher, John Smith, Norman Beach, Michael Henry are charged in count 1. Club members Matthew Hawkins, Brandon Fisher, and John Smith are charged in count 2. Club members Joy Marshall, Jared Peters, Brandon Fisher, Justin Baker, Cody Hughes, Michael Henry, Norman Beach, Daniel Hutton, Michael Reese, Joseph Raider are charged in count 3. And club members Juan Robles, Joy Marshall, Brandon Fisher, Michael Henry, and Brent Eggleston are charged in count 4. Now, Thug Riders Motorcycle Gang was originally founded in 2003 and remains a violent gang today and is located throughout the United States.
So this all happened last year, but they just made a decision about the court case coming up. This all happened like last summer, but they're deciding to move forward with the federal, with the indictment. So they're going to end up going to trial.
Located in Canada, Australia, Morocco, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Germany, and the United Kingdom. As alleged in the indictment, the Midwest region of the club is made up of chapters in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. Midwest regional chapter club meetings are held regularly and are referred to as church, with only full patch members or patch Thug Riders Motorcycle Club members being allowed to attend these meetings, again known as church. Members pay regular dues and fines to the motorcycle gang. Chapters and regions fall under the ultimate authority of the national president, who sits at the so-called mother chapter in Newark, New Jersey. The Dayton chapter of Thug Riders Motorcycle Club, it was established 16 years later in 2019.
I think
Juan
so.
Robles, who you see indicted,
I think so, Emmy.
was instrumental in the creation of the Dayton chapter.
I think about a year they've probably been in custody for.
He is currently the Midwest regional boss for the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club. The Dayton chapter and Midwest region are both part of the domestic International Outlaw Club. The Dayton chapter maintains clubhouses on Stanley Avenue in Dayton and on Lodge Avenue in Harrison Township. The Thug Riders Motorcycle Club maintains a multi-level chain of command. So for us, it is significant to hit the club appropriately.
Yeah, right. So much for a speedy trial. Yeah, right. I mean, so as a defendant, you have the right to ask them for a speedy trial, and they have to give it to you. But I mean, what they think is a speedy trial and what you think is a speedy trial, two different things, right? Mainly, you got to let your lawyers deal with all this shit.
As I stated, Juan Robles is currently the Midwest regional boss. He is alleged to be the primary instigator. And
My question is, okay, all these people got picked up, right? And they're all in leadership positions. What happens to the club that's left on the street? Do they just pick up the pieces where, like, they put people in the positions that are gone and they just keep it moving? I mean, how does that work? Or does it just dissolve? Obviously, it doesn't just dissolve into nothing. They got to keep going, right?
Perpetrator of violence in this case. Joey Marshall, Jared Peters, Brandon Fisher, and John Smith have also held leadership roles in the club. Specifically, Joey Marshall served as the Midwest Regional Sergeant at Arms. Jared Peters served as the president of the Dayton chapter. Brandon Fisher served as the Sergeant of Arms of the Dayton chapter. And John Smith served as the enforcer of the Dayton chapter. So by addressing these individuals and their leadership positions in the motorcycle club, we have dealt a serious blow to this violent organization operating in the Dayton area, surrounding communities throughout the state of Ohio, and other states. The prosecution here is part of the Unorganized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force investigation, better known as OCDEF. OCDEF identifies, disrupts, and dismantles the highest level drug traffickers, money launderers, and gangs that threaten the United States using a prosecutor-led, intelligence-driven, multi-agency approach that leverages the strengths of federal, state, and local law enforcement against criminal networks. Let this indictment send a message that we will continue to work diligently together to address any person or organization that would like to bring harm to our community. And that's regardless of the perpetrator being on foot, riding a bicycle, driving a car, or as in this case, traveling our streets and highways on motorcycles. Now, I would like to thank the prosecutors in this case who are dedicated to this matter, White Keller and Elizabeth McCormick, as well as each of our law enforcement partners. I thank them tremendously. And I encourage the people in this community to have information on the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club, particularly the people indicted in this case, and any other associate, to call 1-800-ATF-GUN, same number being 1-800-283-4867. We will not tolerate the acts of these individuals, and we will bring them to justice and hold them to accountability.
So you guys see that they're going after a lot of clubs out there, right? Mark, what's going on? Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. William, how are you? I like how you dummies separate Trump from his Department of Justice. Keep supporting him. Shut the fuck up, William DeMail. Go suck a fucking fat dick, bitch. How about that? You punk bitch. Wait, I forgot. I don't like any of the
Hell's Angels.
I don't like any of these people, whether it's Trump or anyone else. I don't like politicians or any of them. I think they're all corrupt. I think they're all in our pockets. And but you ain't gonna come on here and talk shit. So go fuck yourself, William. Have a great day. And another thing, what I wanted to bring up is you got them all coming after motorcycle clubs, right? And then you got Trump coming up here and saying this.
You know the Hell's Angels? They're among the nicest people on earth when you compare them to these thugs. And the Hell's Angels actually love our country, if you can believe that. They actually do.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird, right? It's like an oxymoron when you have prosecutors that are trying to dismantle motorcycle clubs and label them criminal gangs and organizations, and that they all move as criminal enterprises. And then you got Trump saying
The Hell's Angels, they're among the nicest people on earth when you compare them to these thugs. And the Hell's Angels actually love our country, if you can believe that. They actually do.
right? Keep our criminals American. 100% hangover closer. Got to. They're all against us. 100%. Most club names are oxymorons. 100%. It's just crazy. It's like, what's the end goal? What's their end goal? To dismantle the clubs so that people can't make up their own mind on what they want to do or where they want to go? I mean, I could kind of understand. I kind of understand on them making a hard stance against the banditos down in Texas, because they're trying to monopolize on, if you don't deal with us, then you ain't dealing with no one. Get the fuck out of here. No one is that powerful to where you are the only person in town. Like, what, if they don't fall under what you say, then no one could be there? That's not how it works. And that's exactly why those people are indicted now, is because they thought they were the biggest person in the sandbox. And they found out that the fucking Justice Department is the biggest bully in the sandbox. So it doesn't matter if it's the Banditos or another club come along and do the same thing. The Justice Department will come and wipe you out. Unless you're friends with Rat Zito.
Hell's Angels, they're among the nicest people on earth when you compare them to these thugs.
And if you're friends with Rat Zito, then then you'll be all right, right?
You know the Hell's Angels, they're among the nicest people on earth when you compare them to these thugs. And the Hell's Angels actually love our country, if you can believe that. They actually do.
And if you guys don't know, he's comparing them to Tren de Aragua, the fucking gang that hates America. I mean, all these people are protesting America, saying how they hate America. Go back to where you're from then. Why are you here? Why are you here waving Mexican flags, talking about how much you hate America? Go. The door's open. Like, it's not a problem. We won't miss you. It's okay. Instead, they want to argue about how they don't want the government to make them leave. Makes no sense. Talk about how you hate it so much, but you're here. So keep waving your flags And remember, if you don't like this show, start your own fucking podcast. I appreciate all you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you could get my videos every time they drop. If you don't like it, you already know what to do. Put it on a piece of paper, fold it up again, and stick it up your ass.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.